Hi everyone, it's Sue with Ully Cat's Designs and Ully Cat's World blog. And today we're going to be making a card using some of the new Karen Burniston dies from the November 2025 release. And today's card is this fun hexagon card with a bee. The Billy Band says buzzing by with a happy high. And then our flower starts to bloom. And there's our little bee. Let's get started on making this card. I'm using the new Karen Burniston mini ball access tabs, which let you make a mini ball that allows you access to open it up and switch out the rubber band, especially if it breaks. So these are a nice new feature. I'm going to start. I've got my 2 halves of my mini ball cut out, and I like to number mine to make sure I do all the steps in the right order. So I've numbered my side flaps that go in, and then I've numbered the tabs or the sides that will get glued down. And then these 2 that have the X are the tabs that are going to be opened. And what we're going to do on that is we're going to cut off these tabs and we're going to glue on some new ones. Now this one, you can see there's a little divot part there, and that kind of tells you that's the side that you're going to glue on. This other side is going to be the tab that will stick out, and we've got a slot to put our other tab on. So that's 1 half of it. And again, when I numbered mine, I took this and just flipped it the way it would be when it gets sealed, so that I would make sure I had the correct ones to cut off. And the way you decide which ones you're going to cut off is it's the side that has the slit in it. So it's the tabs that are the closest to the slit end where that rubber band goes. And then these are the other tabs. I don't know if you can see it or not, but the die actually makes like an impression that kind of sticks out, and that's how you know that's the side to glue in. So you can see here on the die plate, these open white spaces, these big ones, they make an embossed kind of section when you die cut it, and those are the sides that you want to glue onto your mini balls. See, there are the sides. Now I'm going to start assembling my ball. I will put glue on the tabs that I have numbered 1 and 2, and since they're on the inside, you won't see the numbers. And there's 3 and 4. I'm just going to put a weight on those to the other half. So we've let the tabs 1 through 4 dry, and now we're going to work on gluing together 5 and 6. So right now, other than cutting off and then adding new tabs on these other 2 sections, so far everything else is the same as you normally would assemble the mini ball. And this is where I'm going to try an experiment. On one side, I'm going to glue on this extra reinforcement tab. These joints I have always clipped until they dry, since they're usually so thick. I'm going to try getting one side adhered and letting that dry before we try to glue all of it together. So we've got that little access tab already glued and to one side. So I'm going to glue it like that and let it dry a little bit. Then we'll push it in and glue the rest of that. And now we'll glue these 2 sides together. I think this is the easiest way. Just clamp that together and let it dry. Here's our ball put together. We've got our spots for our rubber band. I'm taking a number 12 firm and I'm doubling it up, and I'm going to see if I can get it on the first side. So I've got it through the slits, and then it's firmly down to where that slot is. Now I'm going to try with my tweezers to get it pushed all the way down to that other side. Looks like I've got it. So I'm going to keep that pressed out. Actually, I'll put the long one in first. And there, that's inside. And I think I'm going to put my clips on Boy, I'm not fighting that rubber band. I'm putting the long side in first, working to get short side in once it's through. And I'm using the Animal Add-ons 6 to create the bumblebee. I've taken a large chisel tip Sharpie marker and drawn on the black rings around our yellow bumblebee body. And this is going to be our front. I've got the eyes and the antennae on the face. I still have to put on the mouth. That's going to go right there. The wings I've cut from vellum, and I've got one put together. And I'm just kind of putting dots of glue at sort of junction points. And then we've got our two wings to go on the bee's back. So here's our bee with its eyes, which are just a white circle with this black oval and some white gel pen highlights. And this little circle is actually cut out from the black oval. I've taken the antennae and just turned them backwards so that the dots are underneath to create the bee's 6 legs. There are 2 right up front, there are 2 kind of off its shoulders, and then there are 2 that are in the hind position. It has vellum wings with the little vein overlay on them, and as I said, I use my black Sharpie to color him in. And there's our bee, which will flatten down into a nice hexagon shape that we can then put in our hexagon flower. To make our hexagon flower card base, we're going to be using the new Surprise Ball Access tabs along with the hexagon crosshatch set. And we're going to be using primarily the plain edged dies for this, the 3 largest, but we will be using the largest crosshatch die to cut the back sentiment. From a pattern paper, I have cut 6 of the second to smallest of the hexagons. I've cut 6 of the second to largest hexagon and 6 of the dark. I said we were going to use just the crosshatch, the largest one, once, and this is going to be our back panel. And on it, I've used the new bug greeting stamps, the Just Because, and I'm also going to be using for the belly band to keep the card closed, the Buzzing By with a Happy High. And then from that hexagon set, I've cut 8 of the largest plain die. And then from the ovals crosshatch set, I have cut out kind of the middle size plain oval. And that will be the base for our little bee to go on. And then I have also cut a strip, because I cut all of my big hexagons out of a textured polka dotted piece of cardstock that was 12 inches long, and this is 2 inches wide. And we probably won't use all of it when we make our belly band, but I wanted to have enough to cut down. And then I said we were using the Buzzing By with a Happy High for our belly band. I cut it out using one of the new greeting label dies, and they're just the perfect size for all of the stamp sets that Karen Burniston makes. To talk a little bit more about the access tabs. She's come out with sets for each of the 3 sizes of the balls, and the surprise ball is the largest of the balls. But we're going to use these as our connector tabs between our different hexagons. And as you can see, it cuts out 2 sets of the 3 different tabs that you need to make your pop-up balls accessible. What you see here, I've cut it out twice, and then I've just weeded it down. I'm not using some of them, but I'm using 4 of these slot tabs and 2 of the regular tab ones. And then I've cut what is approximately 1/4 of an inch wide, just 2 strips that we'll use to have our pop-up ball holder slide into. I'm going to just start by folding these, and we will put these to the inside of our card. You can tell the edge of the slot is just right up to that. I'm going to fold that down, put my glue on. And I'm just matching up my edges. So I finished gluing all of the petals on. You can see there's a nice big piece, and I've glued my 8 hexagon right there. So this is always petal number 1, which would have the first fold, and this is where and now we'll start decorating. So I've got all of the decorative papers glued on the inside. I've glued my bee to the little oval piece, and he or she, I'm not sure which it is, it's probably a he, is all set. So I'll take him back out, and we need to flip it over and decorate the backside. So I've made sure that my point of reference is going to be first flap that goes in. So we can get our card closed. I want it tight enough to keep it closed, but loose enough. So this piece is now a little bit over 10 inches. So we're putting glue on the edge of both. Turn that over for the time being. We use our label as kind of the piece that will there. And here's our finished card. And this would probably have to be a hand-delivered one. So slide that off. And then start letting your flower open up. And there's your sweet little bumblebee, which then you can slide out if you want. And on the back of the card, you can write a note. Fun little display card. Sure to brighten up anybody's day. I hope you've enjoyed this card, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.